The morning sun spilled gold across the glass towers of Tokyo as a sleek black limousine glided through the city's rush hour. Inside sat Richard Hale, a world-famous American CEO known for his ruthless efficiency and unshakable confidence. His company, Hale Technologies, was on the verge of sealing the biggest partnership in its history, a deal worth over $1 billion with a Japanese conglomerate. Every minute mattered, every decision counted. But as fate would have it, the story of that day would not be remembered for the deal itself, but for a humble woman sitting behind the steering wheel. Her name was Ava Thompson, a 32-year-old driver assigned temporarily to Hale Technologies visiting executives. She wore a crisp uniform, her hair neatly tied back, her eyes calm and observant. Few knew her past, and even fewer cared. To Richard, she was just another employee, another face in the background of his busy life. He didn't even look at her when he entered the car that morning, glued instead to his phone, barking orders into his Bluetooth headset. But destiny, with its quiet and mysterious hand, was already setting up the stage for something extraordinary. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unseen heroes, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread. Because sometimes, one act of grace can rewrite an entire story. As the car moved through the city, Richard scrolled through presentation slides. The deal they were heading to finalize had been months in the making. He would meet executives from Nakamura Group, a company deeply rooted in Japanese culture and values. Richard, impatient and arrogant, often dismissed such formalities as outdated. Business is business, he always said. Numbers talk, not people. Ava, listening silently, knew he was wrong. She had once been in his world, a linguist and cultural consultant working across continents before life took a cruel turn. Her husband, an engineer, had died in an accident overseas, leaving her with debts and shattered dreams. She had lost everything, her job, her home, her hope. Starting over in Japan, she took the only work she could find, driving executives around. Yet, beneath that simple job title lived a woman fluent in 9 languages, a woman who understood people far better than most understood themselves. As the limousine approached the Nakamura headquarters, Richard noticed a message on his phone. His translator had fallen ill that morning and wouldn't make it. "Damn it," he muttered. "Guess we'll use that translation app again." Ava's hands tightened slightly on the steering wheel. She knew this could go wrong. The Japanese valued respect, tone, and cultural harmony. A mistranslated phrase could destroy years of negotiation. But she said nothing, it wasn't her place. When they arrived, the grand building gleamed under the daylight. Men in suits bowed politely at the entrance. Richard walked ahead confidently, rehearsing his speech in English, unaware that many of the Japanese executives spoke only limited English. The meeting began awkwardly. Every attempt to translate using the app came out robotic and sometimes even offensive. The atmosphere grew tense. The faces of the Nakamura board members stiffened. Richard didn't notice, he kept talking faster, his impatience showing. Ava waited outside in the car, glancing at the tall windows. Minutes turned to an hour. Then the doors burst open, Richard stormed out, red-faced, muttering under his breath. "They're pulling out. They said we disrespected them. Can you believe this?" He climbed into the back seat, furious. Ava looked at him through the rearview mirror, her calm eyes meeting his. For a brief moment, she hesitated, should she speak up? Would he even listen? Then, as if guided by something greater than fear, she softly said, "Sir, may I ask what exactly went wrong?" Richard snapped, "They misunderstood my proposal, that's what. They're being overly sensitive." Ava took a deep breath. "Sir, may I try something? I speak Japanese. Maybe I can clarify the misunderstanding." Richard blinked, confused. "You speak Japanese?" He almost laughed, and for a moment, he did. A short, dismissive laugh. "We don't need a driver to fix corporate diplomacy." But something in her steady voice made him pause. Ava didn't flinch. "Please, sir. Let me try. You have nothing to lose now." Reluctantly, he agreed. Ava stepped out of the car and walked into the boardroom, her posture straight yet humble. The Japanese executives, surprised to see the driver return, exchanged curious glances. In fluent, respectful Japanese, Ava bowed and began to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to clarify the misunderstanding from earlier. Her tone was warm, formal, and precise. She explained that Mr. Hale's earlier comments were not meant to dismiss tradition but to express admiration for efficiency and progress. She used the right honorifics, the right pauses, and even referenced a Japanese proverb about unity and understanding. The room softened. Faces that had been cold a moment ago began to relax. One of the directors smiled faintly, nodding. They invited her to sit. Then came the real miracle. During the discussion, an unexpected complication arose. A section of the deal documents was written in Mandarin, referring to a subcontractor from China. The translators had struggled with it earlier. Without hesitation, Ava read the page aloud, translating effortlessly into Japanese. Gasps filled the room. Then another clause in German, and she translated again. French, Arabic, Korean, Spanish. One by one, she navigated through them all. The executives were astonished, so was Richard, who stood frozen by the door, watching the woman he had laughed at only an hour ago save the deal of his career. By the time Ava finished, the meeting had transformed completely. The head of Nakamura Group rose and bowed deeply to her. "We thank you for your understanding and respect." He turned to Richard and said through Ava's translation, "We are honored to proceed with this partnership." The deal was saved, not by power, not by money, but by humility and the hidden brilliance of a woman the world had overlooked. Outside, as they left the building, Richard walked beside Ava in silence. The arrogance that once shadowed his face was gone. Finally, he said quietly, "I owe you more than I can ever repay." Ava simply smiled, her eyes reflecting the sunlight. "Sometimes, sir," she said gently, "respect speaks louder than language." Later that evening, the news broke: Hale Technology secures historic partnership with Nakamura Group. But the headlines didn't mention Ava's name. She didn't need them to. For her, the true reward was knowing she had turned pain into purpose, silence into strength. And for Richard, that day changed everything. He promoted Ava, not as a driver, but as the company's international communications director. From that moment, he made it a policy to listen before judging, a lesson that would shape his legacy forever. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread. Let's remind the world that compassion and respect can change more than just minds, they can change destinies. Speech balloon before you go, tell us in the comments, what's one time someone's kindness or hidden talent surprised you and changed how you saw them? Because sometimes, the people we overlook are the ones who hold the power to change everything.
Hasta ahí, o
No te
sea,
escuché nada.
idealmente, chabón. Pero no funciona igual. Es como que idealmente sí, obvio, pero hasta que pase.
Son todos tirapiedra, ¿o no, Meros?
El tema es que en fútbol nunca nadie discutió en fútbol para intentar de poner a alguien del otro lado, como en política nunca se discutió para intentar poner a alguien del otro lado. Vamos por ese
Sí.
lado también. No, boludo, en política nunca se discute por decir, no, venite de este lado. Nunca se intentaron convencer con las ideas de política. Siempre la política, las discusiones políticas son el tuyo hace esto y el tuyo hace esto.